At first glance, Jason's splits look like a pacing disaster, but once you see the course profile, everything changes. Today's Parkrun progress report is looking at Jason Ford's Halswell Quarry Parkrun from back in the end of June. Jason finished 15th with a time of 26:39. Now, my initial reaction to looking at his data, we can bring that out. My initial reaction is that this run could easily be misunderstood if you only looked at the splits. Once you factor in the course profile, which is there, and also if we look on Strava, we can see it in there as well. Once you factor in the course profile, it becomes a very well executed effort. Halswell Quarry is one of New Zealand's toughest park runs. It's not quite a course where you can chase even kilometre splits. You race the terrain, the course dictates the pacing. Jason splits with 5:55, 4:47, 4:52, 6:49, and then 4:31 pace for the final 970 metres. At first glance, these look all over the place, but when you overlay the elevation, they suddenly make perfect sense. The first kilometre includes 58 metres of climbing. The fourth kilometre includes another 69 metres of climbing. These are huge elevation gains for individual kilometres in a park run. Trying to run even pace on these climbs would almost certainly end in disaster. Jason paced the hills, not the watch. This is one of the biggest lessons runners can learn on hilly courses. Many runners become obsessed with keeping their watch showing their target pace. On a course like Halswell Quarry, that's the wrong strategy. Jason appears to have done something much smarter. He accepted that the climbing kilometres would be slower and made the most of the downward and flatter sections. That's racing the course rather than racing the watch. The second kilometre is excellent. After climbing almost continuously through the opening kilometre, Jason immediately responded with a 4:47. That's not just because it was downhill, it's because he still had something left. Had he tried to force a 5 minute pace on the opening climb, I suspect the second kilometre would have been considerably slower. The fourth kilometre looks slow, but shouldn't. The 6:49 immediately catches your eye. Without context, you'd assume something went wrong. I don't think it did. That kilometre included 69 metres of climbing and 40 metres of descent. That's a substantial amount of elevation change. I'd expect almost every runner to slow significantly there. So I don't see that split as a weakness. I see it as a cost of tackling one of the hardest sections on the course. The finish is outstanding. Jason Watch recorded a final segment of 4:31 pace for the 970 metres. That's a really encouraging way to finish. Despite tackling another hilly kilometre immediately beforehand, he was still able to accelerate strongly towards the finish. That tells me he hadn't emptied the tank too early. The heart rate data is a fascinating uh, um, Yeah, the heart rate data is fascinating. Average heart rate of 178, 165, 167, 167, and 166. First kilometre immediately stands out. Normally, we'd expect heart rate to rise progressively. Instead, Jason's highest average heart rate comes during the opening kilometre. That exact actually makes sense. Climbing drives heart rate up rapidly even when the pace slows. After cresting the hill, the combination of downhill running and improved efficiency allowed his heart rate to settle despite moving considerably faster. I think that's exactly what we'd see on this course. And the cadence reflects the terrain. 87, 91, 90, 86, 92. Again, this mirrors the course beautifully. The steep climbing kilometres show the lower cadence. The faster downhill and finishing sections show the higher cadence. Nothing here suggests Jason lost his running form. Instead, it suggests he adapted naturally to the terrain. The biggest positive for me, the biggest takeaway isn't the finishing time. It's that Jason still had enough left to produce his fastest pace right at the end. That's a sign of disciplined effort management. Many runners attack the early climbs too aggressively and spend the rest of the run simply surviving. Jason appears to have done the opposite. He respected the course and was rewarded with a strong finish. Overall, this is best described as smart, terrain-aware parkrun built on controlled climbing, efficient use of descents, and excellent finishing effort. On a course like Halswell Quarry, success isn't about running the same pace everywhere. It's about running the right effort everywhere. I think Jason demonstrated this well. His splits reflect the terrain rather than poor pacing, and a strong finish suggests he judged his effort intelligently across one of New Zealand's most demanding parkrun courses. So that was Jason's 26:39 at Halswell Quarry Parkrun, one of these performances where the course profile tells a very different story to the kilometre splits. What impressed me most wasn't the individual split times, it was how Jason managed his effort across one of New Zealand's toughest parkrun courses. He respected the climbs, made the most of the descents, and still had enough left to finish strongly. That's smart racing. Remember, on a hilly course, don't judge your race by the pace on your watch. Judge it by how well you managed your effort from start to finish. When you race the terrain instead of chasing an unrealistic pace, you often produce a much stronger overall performance. If you'd like me to analyse your own parkrun or 5K like this, looking at your pacing, heart rate, cadence, power, race execution, and exactly where your next improvements could come from, you can apply for your own parkrun progress report using the link below. Ka kite anō, and I'll see you in the next video.